Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott. Ben's here. Ben, say hi. You have to say hi because there's no camera on the screen.
Hi.
There he is. We're doing another podcast. This is our third podcast. Last week's was the Star Wars discussion. If you missed that, there's some interesting things said about Rogue One. This week we actually have some news to talk about. Not a whole lot. What?
Hold on, cut this out.
And we're back. So we have some news to talk about today. We have some Mass Effect news, some Overwatch news, and I'm going to talk briefly about the Assassin's Creed movie. And there's an NVIDIA announcement about a cool thing that they probably messed up, and it's not going to be very popular. But we'll get to that later.
It'll be about as popular as what PlayStation Now is, I think. You know, there might be 2 people that buy into it, and then it dies.
That's a fair way to look at it. So I guess we're going to launch right into that. NVIDIA has announced that you're going to be able to purchase this cloud program and install any game from Steam, Origins. I would assume maybe indie developers, maybe League of Legends or whatever, you'll be able to install. And you'll be able to play games from your main PC on weaker weaker computers like a laptop or something. And it's also going to be for the Mac, so you can play your PC games on a Mac with this service, which is really, really cool. But I think they're charging way too much for it, and because it's not a just purchase this service or even subscribe to it. A monthly subscription would make sense to me, but you're literally paying for each minute that you do it, that you use this feature. And that seems ridiculous. Anytime that you're you're going to pay for every minute that you do something, especially when it's games you want to sit down and you want to veg out for 3 hours.
I mean, I think it's especially silly that they're charging at all, simply from the standpoint that their involvement is literally just the act of streaming. It's your hardware on both ends, and most likely your internet as well. Whether it's your internet at home or maybe internet, at the hotel that you're staying at that you're paying for. I think it's silly at all that they're charging for it. It should be kind of one of those things that's just kind of boom, here you go. Because I can't imagine that there's that much work on the back end that they have to handle that's worth charging for. Because, I mean, Microsoft provides the exact same service, streaming your Xbox games to your PC, free of charge. Granted, you have to be on the same network, and from what I gather, this doesn't have that limitation, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't find... we started this recording a little bit later than we should have, and we didn't do proper research, but I couldn't find the exact press release from them describing all the information. I don't even know if they've announced it at all.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that they're hosting it on their servers, and you're streaming it from them, not directly from your PC.
Then what's the point of having the PC with the card?
I don't know.
Unless...
That's true. I don't know. Why are they charging? I can understand charging for the program in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a pure streaming service, what PlayStation Now is or something, then I can kind of understand it. I still think it's a stupid idea, but I can kind of understand, all you have to do is say, I want to stream this game, and then boom, and they're charging you. But when they're utilizing your hardware... and utilizing your internet, everything is yours, including the game license, and they charge you. I don't...
Yeah. Also, I guess we should probably say that the actual name is GeForce Now, is the name of the program, and it requires a 1080, and I think they said that the 1060 works, and I would assume the 1070. But yeah, you can, if you guys are interested, you guys can sign up for the early access, which will give you free, basically 4 hours 4 to 8 hours depending on which graphic cards you use. Like apparently the 1060 you get twice as much use out of per minute that you buy, basically.
Let's just move on. Nothing about this makes any sense.
The graph. I think it's really cool. I just want to say that I think it's cool, and I want.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool idea.
The next iteration,
kind of like how PlayStation Now was a cool idea, but they went and screwed that up.
Yeah. But like as soon as I saw that I could stream games, like what I've been looking for, I've been waiting for the announcement that the Old Republic, the MMO version, not the Knights of the Republic, is going to be playable on Macs, just because I want to play the MMO on a laptop. I don't want to play on my desktop, but it never is. So like I was like, I can finally do this. I'm not going to pay for that. Like I'm not going to pay that much.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the Overwatch patch.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce that.
Well, I mean, I know you didn't really like look into it all that much, but it isn't live yet. It's still on the PTR. But it's the main thing that like people are looking at are just the Roadhog hook changes, so that like it kind of boils down to basically like if at any point in time, either before, after, during, whatever, the hook connects, if line of sight is broken between that character and Roadhog, then the hook will disengage and the character will stop getting pulled. Because, Roadhog, up to this point, has been able to do things like, hook a character and pull them around a corner, and through walls and all this kind of stuff, just due to latency and characters moving and all that kind of stuff. Like, I know for a fact that playing as Tracer, I've been like mid-blink and I've been hooked while I was blinking. So then I would end up being like in a completely different room, like around two corners, but then I'd get pulled back around.
Yeah. Ben and I have recently discovered that there is surprisingly amount of latency between players in Overwatch. When we did our 1v1s, we got to see both perspectives of what was happening. And there were some times where one of us was looking complete opposite directions.
You mean like the time where I was I was to your right, looking straight at you, perpendicular to your guns, but you shot the air in front of you as Tracer and killed me.
I did that to you as Reaper as well.
Yep.
So we don't know if that was just like a host relationship or something. And like we don't know how it is on live because we can't kill each other on live or like on public servers. But at least on the Xbox version, there seems to be some sort of delay on animations, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good change overall. I think it grants clarity to the characters and their interactions and everything. I think that's always good because you never want to like. One thing that always sucks in the game is when something happens to you out of your control. That you planned for, you evaded, but something invisible caused your death, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just going to be nice because Roadhog is kind of like a go-to pick, and I feel like
I love Roadhog
because of. Yeah, I mean, he's a great character, don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like the main reason he is such a go-to is because this is so overpowered. Like, if you hit someone with it, like it's pretty much guaranteed that they will come to you. And now this is just going to add, that extra layer of like, well, you have to make sure you have clear line of sight, and you're not like, essentially like fishing this line through like a couple posts.
Yeah.
Which I mean, if you do that, like that's a great skill shot. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I don't think it necessarily deserves to be awarded with yanking someone around a corner.
Yeah, I think I feel like there could have been something. I don't know if this is just too complicated or whatever, but I felt like maybe if they had done it where if you throw the hook and then that character hits a wall on their way back to you, then the hook breaks off. That would have been kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it has that as well. Like, if you have line of sight, but the character hits a wall, then it'll stop. In the PTR, players have been finding, like, a few odd bugs with that.
I can imagine.
Like there's one where a player starts, like he hits the hook, but like they're kind of going around a corner, but like he can still kind of see him, and so it starts pulling him, but it's kind of going off at like a awkward angle to the left, and then that's when the hook breaks, but they still have the velocity of the pull, so they go flying off into into the background, basically like Team Rocket from Pokemon.
We're blasting off again.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think it's for the best. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are kind of salty about it, but at the same time, like if that was your sole reason for picking Roadhog, then it's the salt is deserved, I think.
I honestly, I obviously I haven't played Overwatch much, but in all my Roadhog games, I don't think I've ever done anything that this patch prevents me from doing.
Yeah,
like I've never taken advantage of.
As far as you know, I mean,
like from what I've seen, I don't like everyone that I've hooked has been on my screen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just mean like for all you know, on their screen they could have been. 20 feet away.
Sure. It's a good change. I like it. I think anything that brings more agency to a player is good.
Yeah,
and it allows people to dodge Roadhog's hooks easy, like in a more realistic way.
Yeah,
that's super awesome.
Yeah, I mean the main thing I'm worried about is just simply there are going to be a few characters that have like super easy outs, like Tracer and Pharah specifically.
So does Tracer actually blink, or is it just a fast dash?
I'm assuming the difference in your terminology is blink would be they literally disappear and then reappear.
Yeah,
it's a fast dash.
Okay, so it's a fast dash.
Yeah, I don't think there would be any game ever that could create a actual blink, because, I mean, at least not any like high-profile first-person shooter kind of game. Just because that would require like essentially like deleting and recreating the character data. Because I mean, you're gonna have to have the physics model and everything move. Whether or not it's visible is a complete, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Like your first-person shooter made me agree with you slightly, because League has true blinks. League of Legends.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they can get away with that because it's top down. Like, there's really only 2 dimensions of movement there.
Yeah.
So
I think you could get away with it. I'm sure you could get away with it decently well. It's not that.
Well, I mean,
you just like you just do what Tracer does, but turn off the physics volume.
But I mean,
and then turn it back on.
I don't know if there's a game engine in existence that can toggle physics volume on characters when they're in an alive state. I
bet. I mean, it's all ones and zeros. You can do it.
Oh yeah, because
I'm not saying that it's easy.
Yeah, that's the
but you
solution
can do it.
To the problem there. Just swap around a couple zeros and ones.
I didn't say a couple. It'd be a lot of ones and zeros. It'd be several million.
Anyways,
several million ones and zeros.
Regardless of whether or not that's actually doable within any realm of acceptability.
But yeah. Okay, so theoretically, what I was going at is the Roadhog could hook Tracer mid-dash.
That, I mean, maybe, but like I think she goes from like point A to point B over like single-digit number of frames.
Sure.
So,
but if you threw the hook and then she dashed through the path of the hook, and like given you hit that their exact right moment, I don't know.
Maybe.
But I also feel like
honestly
Tracer.
Don't know.
I feel like Tracer is supposed to combat Roadhog in a way. In that sense, it's like she should be not getting hooked.
Yeah.
And then just be peppering Roadhog with damage.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like that's her character design.
I mean, she might have a blink, but like the effects on the animation make it look like a fast dash.
Yeah.
Just because like she leaves that trail behind her and everything. So
maybe we'll have to do a Mythbusters type episode of Split Couch Games and figure this out.
Maybe.
Maybe. Be on the lookout for that. Could be fun.
Anyways.
Anyway. Yeah, let's move on to Mass Effect.
Yep.
Ben's excited about Mass Effect.
I am.
I'm
You don't
indifferent.
You don't really care.
I know that Mass Effect's a good game, and I'm interested in Mass Effect, but not quite enough to play it. Because I know that I would be investing a lot of time into it. I have played a majority of the first game.
I just still, and I would think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody on the internet that would disagree with me. But I have a hard time trusting opinions from you in regards to Mass Effect when you haven't even finished a single game. Like, it's not even like you only played 2 and you hated it, but like you actually finished it. Like that, I could be like, okay, sure, fine, you know, whatever. You have your opinion,
sure.
But like, you haven't even beaten the first game, and that's the only one that you've played.
Yeah, by no means am I like I don't have like I enjoy the story, I enjoy the characters, I enjoy all the stuff that was in there, except for I just don't enjoy the RPG elements because they just took too much time. Like,
okay, hold on.
This is a whole new
different
conversation.
Just real quick, because that's a completely different reason than what you've given me previously. When you say that, you mean like the skill tree and everything?
A little bit, but it's mostly like the travel time between story elements, like, and like the combat. There's
Those
just not enough to hold.
Whatever. We're getting off topic. So Mass Effect Andromeda has a release date of March 21st? Yeah.
Yeah. And
they released a little bit of a trailer, 2 minutes of, you know, like gameplay and that kind of thing at the end of the CES NVIDIA announcement, keynote, whatever the hell. And
interestingly enough, they actually released the trailer is on the NVIDIA YouTube channel, not the Mass Effect YouTube channel, which is kind of interesting.
I mean, it makes sense because they probably have some sort of exclusivity thing.
Yeah, I'm curious if like maybe if you in the future if you buy a 1080 or something, you'll get Mass Effect Andromeda for free.
I don't know, maybe.
That'd be kind of cool.
But no, the gameplay that they showed in that actually took away some of the fears that I had in regards to the game. Just simply because there were a lot of because the game, from what we've seen previously, does look a lot like Dragon Age Inquisition in terms of like there might only be a handful of like worlds, quote unquote, and they're just like completely massive, and there's a lot of wandering around and, you know, needless exploration and everything, which is something that like I kind of
which is what I love in
games. I got behind it with Dragon Age a little bit, but at the same time, like, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like this is more of a chore than anything that's actually entertaining. And so I was really kind of afraid that the combat wasn't going to be able to evolve enough to make being in these more open environments worthwhile. But the combat actually looks like it's, you know, decently fast-paced and pretty fluid and everything, which is a nice thing to see.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised by that. It looks like they're definitely going away from the cover shooter aspect.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about that. Because, like...
Yeah, like, that's... Because I agree. Like, I'm personally, like, I enjoy movement-based shooting, but because I feel like that's where like dynamic fights come from, is like being forced to move around as opposed to just like popping in and out of cover. So in that sense, like, I'm excited about it, but also like I have this like ingrained in me from like not just Gears of War, but from any third-person shooter that I played, like cover, like just getting hit, like visually getting hit in third person and not like diving for cover, it feels wrong. Like in like first person shooters, it's fine because you don't actually like see the damage being dealt to you and you're just like accepting it. But like in third person, you're literally seeing your model get hit, and they're not like, there's not an incentive to
and
avoid that really. Like, assuming you have the shields.
Like the cover aspect of the first 3 games was something that kind of grounded it in reality for me. Like it made it so that like you weren't just like this total badass. Like you could die, and if you didn't, plan things right, then it would be obvious. And I feel like the emphasis on mobility and everything, like although it's kind of cool and it may be really fun to play, I feel like it just kind of it makes you into essentially Master Chief. Like it takes away that like calculated thinking aspect and just kind of inserts this like, oh, you're a total space badass mentality. So I mean, I'm still kind of a little skeptical, but I won't be able to tell until I play the game. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely like. I feel like if you can get past that, I feel like it's going to be a good game. But I think it is going to be definitely odd to see visually. Like when I saw that, like again, like I'm not a big Mass Effect fan, but I was like, all the gameplay that I've seen, I'm just very like, this doesn't feel like Mass Effect. And like that's fair. Like you are allowed to progress your franchise and try new things and everything.
Yeah, especially when you go like, the entire third game didn't happen. Is basically what they're doing.
I mean, it happened. It's just it happens after, right? Because this is happening right after Mass Effect 2 or during Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, it's happening like during the same time frame as Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's technically when the ship leaves.
Yeah. So
and then
it's like
the actual events of the game take place like 600 years after the ship leaves. So
So yeah, it looks fun. Like it looks like if they don't do the exploration stuff, like, and it's just pointless exploration, I could see myself enjoying it, like just based off like having fun gameplay, and also like Mass Effect is going to tell a good story. I don't think anyone's questioning that.
Yeah.
But also, from what it looks like, the menus look a lot more streamlined and just look really pretty and very like
a lot cleaner.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just because like again, like I've only played Mass Effect 1, but like I don't think it really developed much more through the next iterations of the games. But it just didn't feel. It felt clunky and it felt not futuristic really. It just kind of felt like it was just menus.
I mean, the first game is a lot more classic RPG. Like the first game is going to be way more relatable to players of like the Knights of the Old Republic and everything. Like there's a massive amount of focus on stats and that kind of thing. But Mass Effect 2 and 3 aren't like that. So
okay.
Way more streamlined.
Okay.
Like the other 2 games don't even have like the electronics and like security skills or whatever. So
okay. All right. Well, I think we can safely say that Ben is looking forward to Mass Effect. I might pick it up if I see him play it and it's fun, and we'll see what happens.
And by that you mean you'll pick it up like 3 years from now after the second one's already out and it's like $10.
Yeah. But yeah. So to round things out, we only have like 5 minutes left, give or take. The Assassin's Creed movie. I did see it. Ben didn't end up seeing it. He was almost going to see it, or he was planning on seeing it with some friends, but it didn't happen. So it's just me. Long story short, you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. Like, you kind of have to buy into what they were trying to do. It's a very stylized movie. It honestly, I don't know if you ever saw Ex Machina, but it was like Ex Machina meets 300 in a way, where like all the stuff in the past reminded me of 300 in terms of like slow motion was used and all that, and then like Ex Machina where it was trying to make the viewer uncomfortable with what was going on. In that, like, who knows the truth, kind of thing. Like what's really happening. And I bought into it and I enjoyed it. And it was not a perfect movie. I could even venture to say that it wasn't really a good movie because it was so hit or miss, but I did enjoy it. I do recommend checking it out, probably on just when it comes out, rent it on Redbox. But if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, I think you'll enjoy the story well enough, and I think it stayed true to the source material, which was nice.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Oh, and I forgot to mention this. I didn't mention this to you when we talked about it outside of this, but the Animus, the whole Animus thing, was a lot better than even I thought it was going to be. Like, I didn't have a problem with how they were doing it. But basically what it is there's an implant on the back of the neck, and that's the Animus part. The actual machine is just there as a mobility device.
Interesting.
So, like, the Animus is very much the same. It's just instead of lying on the bed, they're moving around.
Yeah. To, I'm assuming, kind of help hammer home the whole bleeding effect thing.
Yeah, they hammer that home pretty hard.
Shocker.
Like, in a cool way. Like, there's actually like holographic images of what was happening, like displayed in the lab, and which, again, with the stylized things, is like he started hallucinating, kind of like how Subject 16 did.
Yeah.
And so you got to see that aspect of the bleed effect as well.
Oh, nice.
Which was kind of cool. Anyway, that's the Assassin's Creed movie. I recommend seeing it at some point if you're a fan of the Assassin's Creed series, or if you're just kind of interested in seeing what it's about. Last thing, I have a funny story. Kind of an embarrassing story for me. But I just got home from a dinner with my family, my extended family. And I have these cousins. They're my dad's sister's kids. And their name are Krista and Alex. And they've been in my family since they're older than me, so they've been in my family longer than I have. And I just found out, like, I just realized today that they're adopted.
Okay.
Like, and that's not that bad, right? And again, like, this is just one of those things where if you don't think about it, it never crosses your mind. Like, it just never crossed my mind that they were adopted. It should have, because they're definitely Asian. Like, they are.
So you're telling me that your relatives in your white family that are Asian never clicked that they were adopted?
Never even crossed my mind. Like, literally, like, I never, like, sat down, like, until today. Like, I thought about it. They weren't even there. I just, like, oh, they're not here? Okay. Because there's, like, a whole family get-together for the holidays. And it never, like, clicked with me. And I'm like, why, like, I was like, they're Asian. Like, they're clearly adopted.
I don't even...
Do
I need to worry about you? Like,
no.
Do I need to make sure that you're putting, like, milk in your cereal in the mornings and not water?
I can't tell you why it never crossed my mind, but it did.
You're a special guy, Scott.
But, like, when you think about it, like, I grew up with them. Like, that was what it was.
Yeah.
And no one, like, ever felt the need to explain it to me because it was so obvious.
Yeah, it like, should have been obvious.
I mean, and again, like, I'm not, like, I never thought, like, oh, they're, like, I never thought that, like, they were given birth by my aunt or anything like that. Like, I was never, like, I just never thought about it. I never thought about their origin story, basically. Like, they were there.
Okay, buddy. Do I need to take all the sharp objects out of your room and make sure that they're like baby plugs over all the outlets?
Yeah.
Probably.
No,
Okay.
No, I'm fine. I figured it out. I'm 25 now. It only took me 25 years.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well.
Yeah.
You. I don't even. I don't know how to respond to that.
You don't know
because like
you don't know how to...
I was gonna interject like halfway through your story. Like, is this gonna be one of those embarrassing stories where you're different ethnicities and you don't know? Turns out that's exactly what it was. Like, I was just gonna be completely like, haha, because I'm saying you're that stupid. Nope. That's literally.
I want to be clear. I don't think it's stupidity.
Well, yeah,
like,
but I mean, it's just I don't.
But yeah, it's not. Wasn't my. It hasn't been my smartest 25 years of life, I guess. Like.
Apparently, we are gonna wrap this up. Now that this depressing story of humanity has gone on.
Hey.
All right. We'll see you guys next
always,
time on Split Couch Games.
We'll see you guys next time. Let us know if you enjoyed this, what you guys would like us to talk about. Anything at all. Any feedback whatsoever, we would love to hear. Likes, dislikes, comments, all that jazz. We just want feedback so we can get better.
Exactly. The only feedback we can't really take into consideration is whether or not you like my face.
What?
Wow. Supposed to be a joke, saying that people might not like my face, and I'm saying that we can't change that, but apparently that went way over your head.
They can't see your face on this video, Ben.
Well, yeah, but if they've watched other videos.
No one's watched other videos.
Some people have watched other videos.
It's true.
Anyways.
We've been doing better. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Bye.
Bye. And yes, Ben's face will be there. Every time. Every video. Ben's face.